So when I read this line right here, it says, trying to see if they got a different translation. Let me just read. Let me see if they talking about. Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. I guess that one could be used, but essentially he said he took her. Let me read another one. And Isaac brought Rebekah into his mother's Sarah's tent. She became his wife. He loved her deeply, and she was a special comfort to him after the death of his mother. Okay. And it says, Isaac brought her into the tent of his mother, Sarah, and he married Rebekah, so she became his wife, and he loved her. And Isaac was confronted after his mother's death. I guess I got a little bit of context there, but that's not like the all in all, full in all context I was trying to hear what I'm talking about. You probably don't, but yes, I'm about to talk about now is I guess context clues in the Bible, and also like I feel like it's a possibility that a lot of the stuff that we're doing in current day and time could be a big issue. I feel like most people would just say God. I'm gonna say Yahweh, but it's a big issue with Yahweh. And it's like a lot of verses. I wish I remember some of the verses, but it's a lot of verses where he like even saying this stuff. Like he basically saying like, bro, y'all gonna it first started sounding like he was saying, all right, y'all kicking it with strangers. Eventually, y'all gonna fall into the ways of the stranger, and then because y'all following the ways, y'all gonna become strangers to me. So what I want to talk about right now is the concept of marriage. Our understanding of marriage today is you don't want to need propose. It's like almost guaranteed that there's gonna be a ring involved. There's a yes and there's a no. You have a gigantic wedding, and then you're married. But I heard somebody say something interesting, and after I heard him say it, I just looked at a couple of the Bible verses, like just talking about marriage, and then it was like, well, I can't really dispute it. I'm not really good at debating, so I mean, me not being able to dispute it essentially means nothing, right? But Musings. So there's scriptures, and I hate that I don't know like the ones, right? The numbers and the name, right? There's scriptures that say like the if you were to become intimate with a woman, you must take her as your wife. And then you're gonna see scripture after scripture after scripture after scripture. They'll say like he laid with the women and she became his wife. He took the woman and she became his wife. But essentially, they talk about the act of them. You know how they say you consummate the marriage by being intimate. All throughout biblical times, like the consummation was the marriage. You get what I'm saying? So now we know as marriage is like this overly complicated thing. For example, you can't get married in a day. I don't believe so. I think you gotta go get a marriage certificate and get it approved and all this transfer name, all this stuff. You know what I'm talking about by law? This is a very long, lengthy process. So when you read the book, this process did not exist. He said he went into the tent, he took her, and she became his wife. He took her, and that's how she became his wife. So I think we have like this, like what we call marriage now is not necessarily what marriage is. Like according to, or if we were to reference the Bible, marriage is simply when two flesh become one. I guess how do you get married? Or how do two flesh become one? You get married. Now, how do you get married? It's when two people come together and they become intimate. So, I guess there's another one. There's another like scripture, and the scripture it was like, bro was basically talking to the dudes, and he was like, he was saying so they used to say harlot. That's essentially a prostitute. And he was telling dude like, if you I think it was like if you get intimate with the prostitute, you are like committing adultery. How would that be? You know what I'm saying? Like the prostitute is quote unquote unmarried. How is said person committing like adultery? I believe adultery is when you sleep with somebody else's wife and or a husband. And I also believe that in order for a husband and a wife to even like be divorced. Now this one I'm not really sure about, but in order for them to even be divorced, some act of adultery has to have happened. I I want to say maybe death also, but I don't think that's one of them. But again, it like comes back around to what I was saying about marriage. So essentially, this woman is not married, quote unquote. So for this man to sleep with her, if it was a sin, it shouldn't be adultery. But the reason why it is adultery is because when a woman and a man, they become intimate, they make love, they have sex, the man is obligated to marry her. So in his eyes, they're married. Like once two people have sex, in his eyes, they're married. So when she get done having sex with whoever dude she just had sex with, and then she has sex with this dude is now committing adultery because he's sleeping with that dude's wife. You know what I'm saying? The only reason why that could even work is if marriage is when two human beings, male and female, engage in intercourse, or they get intimate, they have sex. That's how they become married. That's how two flesh become one. The unison. So I guess I'm putting that information out there because we don't really, I guess, sometimes I just feel like we don't think. We don't think for ourselves. We pretty much just go with what's been taught to us. So one of the things I found very interesting when I was reading Willie Lynch letters is dudes basically, he was boasting. He was basically saying like, y'all give us y'all kids so that we educate them. I think that was an add-on. Like, I don't think that was in the letter. I think somebody else added that in there, but I think we should think about that. Like, a lot of the stuff we know, we've been taught by not by the book, essentially. Even the stuff we think it's the book, when you try to break it down, I just seen this happen so many times. Somebody just blurred something out, and then you got somebody who really, they only basically blurting out what the book is saying. They like, oh, they don't say that in the book. And so the person who just blurted whatever out, they always be like, yes, it does. So they'd be okay, show me. Time and time and time and time again, they can't show them. Now, here's the thing. If I'm in that situation, I wouldn't be able to show them, but it's like me not being able to show them is not knowing the exact scripture, you know what I'm saying? I would like to think these other people are like someone else when they say it. They're not necessarily like using a scripture. They're using like interpretation, like how they perceive. Like, oh, if this happened, then this happened, so this must be the answer. You feel what I'm saying? I've actually been shown the scripture. I've actually seen the scripture. I actually looked over the scripture. I just don't remember it. So I don't remember which direct said person, you know what I'm saying? But I know it's there. I know it's in the book. So even though I would be in the same boat, essentially, not being able to go scripture for scripture for a lot of people. I think like somebody who just now getting into the Bible, yeah, I'd be able to debate me like it's nothing. Very forgetful, and I'm not really good at the like I'm not good at the value of the scripture, or using the scripture to prove this point or that point. You know what I'm saying? So whenever I hear something, I immediately go look at it, and then I try to see, like, as I continue, or I'll even go back sometimes to see if this is still holding up. And with the marriage thing, it's holding up. So every time I see marriage mentioned, they just did it basically. I don't know how to explain it. Like, they got busy and then they was married. Like, if that makes sense. And then the wedding and everything, I don't even know if that's a thing. If I'm being honest, I don't even know if wedding rings are a thing either. I believe wedding rings are like some type of American thing, if I'm not mistaken. I think some jewelry company just needed to boost their sales, so they dropped an ad or something, and then it's just been popular ever since. Now, this is something I think I heard, so I don't really want to like put it out there like that's true. I guess I'll try to go do some research on that, but I think that like the concept of a ring, I think that in itself even came from like some old ancient times. You feel me? Like, but I don't think that was a thing. You hear what I'm saying? Like, as far as the Bible goes, I did just read the dude get a girl a bracelet and a nose ring. So, I mean, I could only assume that's like equivalent to a ring, but it didn't come from the person who was marrying her. You know what I'm saying? So, Abraham, servant, went out to go get a wife for his son, Isaac. Found the girl, talked to God. He was like, God, help me out, bro. If this is the woman that you chose for Isaac, have her come out here, give me some water, and give my camel some water. If the girl do that, then I'ma know that's the one you picked. See a girl, like, hey man, I'm low-key thirsty out here. You mind if I get a sip? She like, oh, it's good. Boom. And I don't even think he asked her about no camel. She was just like, oh, dang, I see your camel looking thirsty too. Hey, I'm gonna go get some water for him too. I'm gonna be back real quick. Just went ahead and did it. So he like, oh, this gotta be the one. He go talk to her family. Said, oh yeah, I talked to God earlier and asked him this. And then it just low-key happened. So, I mean, if I'm putting 1 and 1 and 2 and 2 together, I'm assuming it's the one he picked. So, I mean, what's your move? And they like, what you mean? We ain't got no move. God said it is what it be like. So he was like, all right, I mean, I love you, daughter, and everything, but God said it. Like, I don't know what else. Hopefully all is well. Like, that's just all his plan. Like, this the one you picked from. She wasn't tripping or nothing like that, but that he was just saying to the dude, like the servant, he was like, basically like, bro, what you mean? Like, if God said it, what you even asking us about? Like, what's the question? So she ended up going back with the servant, and before she went, the servant gave her brother and her mom some jewelry and stuff, and then I think that's when he gave her the bracelet and the nose ring. Now, that didn't come from Isaac. Isaac is going to be the one who's getting ready to marry her. So usually how wedding rings work is the person who wants to marry her in this day and time, like, to me now they have two completely different meanings. Like, they don't even mean the same thing. Like, I think of marriage like an obligation by law that has brought two people together as one. But biblically speaking, it sounds like marriage is the union between two persons coming together. But like under biblical law, I assume it's just like through intercourse, if you hear what I'm talking about. So Isaiah, he didn't propose, if you hear what I'm saying. Maybe he proposed in a tent or something, but he didn't give her the bracelet and the nose ring. She already got that. It could have been like a gift. Who knows what's going on with that? But what I'm saying is that the whole marriage with the ring, I've yet to find it. So I'm gonna keep searching, see if I find it. But until further notice, this is like my understanding now. And that's really good for me, and it helped me out a lot. I guess I gotta do like a deep dive in that whole situation, marriage period. Because I also heard something about like the father. Like, so the reason why the servant even went to talk to the father is like essentially he needed that approval. It's really up to the wife, right? But let's say the wife agreed and the father didn't. The father would need to be reimbursed, if I'm not tripping, for his daughter. Because essentially you taking, like, you receiving something of value and he just getting nothing. You get what I'm saying? So you're not necessarily replacing that value. That don't even make sense. To try to say you can replace like a human with like some type of thing, but you like I can't even think of the phrase, but they'd be like something for your troubles, a little something for your troubles. Like, that's basically what's happening. Like, reimbursing him for the trouble that he's about to endure. Like, he just lost his daughter, and a daughter could be so much like to him emotionally, but then there's also the physical aspects of, dang, now who gonna watch your little brother? You know what I'm saying? Like now who gonna do all the things that you were doing? Like, I have to replace said thing or things. Hopefully that's not offensive or whatever to people when they hear what I'm talking about, but like, those roles still have to be fulfilled, and I have to like find a way to do that. So with the reimbursement, however I'm being reimbursed, I could now like go out and hire somebody to do those things. Let's say my daughter was in charge of like cleaning bathrooms, whatever chores. Now I could like go on the app and like I'm trying to speed it up, put it back in today's context. Go on the app and like get like a cleaning service and have those things done now. You feel what I'm saying? But if you don't reimburse me from taking not only my daughter but like everything else, the roles she was fulfilling away from me, I had to replace those. So the dividends, I guess, is for that reason. So I could then go ahead and do such things. And I ain't gonna lie, the Bible is really set up like that. Like it all pans out, it all makes sense, they all connect. So even the stuff like, essentially, when you first think about some stuff, it seems like it don't make sense. But when you put it into context, then it's making sense. Like, for example, I was just talking about the reimbursement, right? On the initial thought, me hearing that, I'm like, dang. Like the value of your daughter is just like whatever the value is, you feel me? Like whatever the reimbursement is, like, and that's just it. But it's not necessarily that, you know what I'm saying? It's like I was saying, like, God don't really like dealing unfairly. So if this was just the case, a man could just come marry your daughter and then that's it. Again, the daughter has to agree. So this is not like this forceful thing. Like there's an agreement between two parties. You get what I'm saying? Like even when I was saying like if a man and a woman come together and they become intimate, they marry, that's an agreeable offense. If the offense is not agreeable and a man become intimate without consent or vice versa, I think in the book the penalty to both of those actions is death. So yeah. A lot of people I be hearing them, they be trying to spin the book like, oh yeah, God was just like rape women and all. I don't understand like how y'all be getting it, but I understand too. Like sometimes when you read the words as is, it could be sounding like that or sounding harsh, but you know, it's also perception. I feel like I'm reading the same scriptures as everybody, but sometimes I don't need the context clues. I guess sometimes it don't make sense for it to be another thing, if that makes sense. Like it wouldn't make sense for this to be that. That's just based off of like the business that Yahweh stand on. Like if he don't like things to be unbalanced, then certain things like they just don't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like they won't occur. When I say unbalanced, I mean like the deal. You know, like uneven deals. So if an exchange is to happen, it's gonna be a fair exchange. It's not gonna be all right, I give you 3 apples, you give me a car. You know what I'm saying? Like those things don't equal each other. And I guess the only way that would equal each other, if I was gonna say, if said person thought that was equal. I don't even think that's the case, because again, it'd be like too much room for somebody to like neglect the system. If I'm poor and I'm hungry, I would sell my car for 3 oranges. You hear what I'm saying? So to eliminate that, Yahweh made everything pretty much had to be scaled properly. So getting this for that, that be bigger than this, or this be bigger than that, it's not necessarily a thing. I guess I'm rambling now, but so this whole conversation is about, I guess, biblically what marriage is and what we know marriage to be today. I also want to say, vows. So vows, that's where you get like, so like I said, consent is needed, right? So I guess now the other question is consent the vow? So you know how you have vows at a wedding before you get married. Two people agreeing to become intimate. Is that agreement then the vow, the oath? Because again, it said like, once he become intimate with her, he must marry her. Like it's not a debate. You know what I'm saying? So if they agree, they essentially just said they vows. If I'm not mistaken, you know what I'm talking about? They already, them saying yes is saying like, to death do us part, because the books say like, this is what it is and this is how it's gonna be. Like, you can't go mess with little Christine down the street and then go mess with Debbie, because you just, I don't think it's adultery. Not adultery, it's something else. But you just cheated on your wife, bro. Because once you got in there with little Debbie, that's that. Like, y'all locked in, you hear me? So if little Debbie don't, I ain't even gonna get into that other little part. But if little Debbie don't be like, all right, yeah, yeah. I just know how the world is, you hear me? So I ain't even trying to get into all the others. But it's essentially, yeah, if little Debbie don't okay that, it's a problem. You hear what I'm talking about? So little Debbie gotta okay that, because that's your wife. And then, of course, said party gonna have to okay that. But I mean, I think it's probably should be an understanding going on. You hear what I'm talking about? I'm pretty sure this video is very long. I'm going ahead. I think the word was fornication. So it's not adultery, it's fornication. I think Fornication is any unlawful sex. And the unlawful sex is if I'm not mistaken, they may eventually end up being some type of adultery as well, if I'm not mistaken, because let's say, like, they got all the ones, don't sleep with your father's wife, don't sleep with your blah, 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 you know what I'm saying? Those are forms of adultery. I see a rainbow in the sky, but it's all white. That's very interesting. I guess it's not a rainbow, but it's a rainbow in the sky, but it got no color, just white. And it looked like it's actually, damn, I ain't gonna lie, it looked like it's a few of them. First I was only seeing one, but now it looks like it's one split. It's like one going this way, but then like the deeper into the sky you get, you see a bunch of it just opening up way more and spreading out. It kind of looked like a bunch of beams, but it's rainbows. Now I think it's just, it kind of looked like the rays from the sun coming from a place where the sun is not at. So the sun right here, you can see because it's on my face. But over there's no sun over there, but it's a bunch of like rainbow looking things, and they looking like alright, I'm out. I'm out of here. Have to get up out here. 37 minutes? I mean, I guess that wasn't that long, but that was kind of long.